Well, hi everybody. Al Bernstein here with another one of our boxing hangouts. This one in advance of the Floyd Mayweather Marcos Maidana pay-per-view extravaganza on Saturday at the MGM Grand that I'll be privileged to participate in as the broadcaster on the pay-per-view, Showtime pay-per-view telecast. It should be an interesting evening of boxing, not just because of Maidana versus Mayweather, but also the undercard, which is pretty interesting, and we'll discuss all of that and more with very special guests. First, though, I want to say hi to Dan Parks, our producer for the Hangouts. Dan, how are you?
Excellent, sir. Thank you, Al. Appreciate you making it tonight. I know you've had a very busy day. You've been at all the press conference, and I'm thrilled that we were able to get the champ to come in and join us tonight.
Yes, it was a very interesting day at the press conference, and we'll talk about that as we go on, and this will be a lot of fun. The gentleman that I was referring to earlier, who has joined us on other Hangouts and who is a terrific articulate spokesman when it comes to all things boxing, and that is the former heavyweight champion of the world, Chris Byrd. Chris, how are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's always great to visit with you, and great to get your expertise as we look ahead to this very intriguing fight and really boxing card on Saturday night. Now, the card itself has a number of different elements to it on the undercard. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the undercard and talk first a little bit about J'Leon Love, who's taking on Marco Antonio Parabon. J'Leon Love, who is a middleweight under the Mayweather banner, who has underperformed a bit to this point. It's not that he hasn't won, but he has had some issues where he failed a drug test, and some of the performances he's given have not been spectacular. Marco Antonio Parabon, a former who fought as high as 168, is going to be a lot for him to bite off, Chris, and we're going to find out a little bit more about what J'Leon Love is all about in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, J'Leon Love, like you said, underperformed. He's part of the money team. You gotta be money every time you fight. I mean, really nice and looking like your championship caliber, of quality. So it really all points to him to see how he really look in this fight, and he got to show up.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. He clearly has a skill set that's very good, and he has power, and he has other things going for him. But in this fight with Gabe Rosado, a perfect example, he just wasn't. It just wasn't the kind of performance that he was looking for. And we'll see how he comes through, even in a couple other fights before that. Parabon is a good fighter who lost to Sakio Bika for a title, and it was a crazy, wild brawl. Parabon is not exactly in the Chris Byrd category of ring technician, but he is a brawler who brings a lot of power to it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that fight. Also on that card, and you and I talked about this on one of the previous Hangouts. How will Adrian Broner return from his loss to Marcos Maidana? And he's going to do that against Carlos Molina, who is a pretty good junior welterweight. They're going to be fighting at 140 pounds, which is probably not the perfect weight for Broner, but a better weight in any case. And Carlos Molina has had a long layoff after a loss to Amir Khan. Chris, one of the interesting things is they were originally talking, as we look at the numbers of these two fighters and how they have gotten to the place they're at. You look at one of the interesting things on the tail of the tape is that Molina is about an inch or so shorter than Broner. For Broner to be effective, he really needs to not be fighting tall people. And ironically, the man that they were looking at fighting was a different Molina, John Molina, who just fought Lucas Matisse in that pitched battle. Now, can you imagine, Chris, if it was John Molina that he was fighting on Saturday night? That would be an intriguing battle, wouldn't it?
It would be very intriguing, and you absolutely right. It's all about style matchup. He's too small. I mean, he's small, fighting a tall guy, and John Molina, that wouldn't have been good. So Carlos Molina, like you said, in shorter. Now he can use his boxing skills and really, show off his talent against somebody smaller. So, yeah, it depends on how he come back from the last fight. He better be alert, come out ready to fight.
Yeah, you made the point after the last one that, and we, everybody, including me, made their Nazim Hamed references, about Nazim losing a fight, and he's so similar to Broner in terms of being so bombastic and flamboyant that when he did lose, it didn't go well for him after that. We'll find out mentally, and you kind of alluded to this. Where is Adrian Broner at this point?
Yeah, mentally, that's the biggest thing. Especially being undefeated, cocky after a loss.
Yeah,
that's the biggest time where, do you come back, fresh and hungry, or are you kind of gun shy and worried about, getting hit with punches? So it should be a good fight regardless.
Yeah, and Molina was a good fighter, but in his major test against Khan, he came up short in that fight. But we'll see how he does against Adrian Broner. Then also on the card, this fight I am very anxious to see. Amir Khan taking on Luis Collazo. Khan, of course, now up at 147. Collazo, who has been a 147-pounder for a number of years, has given everybody trouble that he's fought. He's fought, some great champions, and finally broke through with an important win against Victor Ortiz in his last fight. Luis Collazo is a handful, and even though he's not a giant 147-pound puncher, everybody's a puncher, right, when they face Amir Khan.
Yeah. They are. I mean, Collazo left-handed too. So
hey, good point, yes.
Throw Amir Khan off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Solid at the weight and can punch a little bit. And like you said, everybody's a puncher when they face Amir Khan. Let's see how the chin hold up. Let's see if Amir Khan has learned something under Virgil Hunter as far as keeping the distance, using his combinations at the right time and not rushing it. Sometimes he rushes combination, leave that chin in the air, down he goes. And I think Collazo is a very tough opponent going into it. I don't look at it as this is something special for Amir Khan to get to Floyd. I look at it like you in a tough fight where it's like 50-50. I mean, you coming up to 147, fighting a guy that's been there for a long time, and he's still in the mix and hungry and know how to fight. He a lefty that can throw you off. So it's like a pick 'em fight.
I agree 100%. Yeah, this is not some let's showcase Amir Khan and to see if Mayweather beats Maidana, we can then throw him in. No, this is a real fight, and I agree with you. It's 50-50. You could see each man winning this fight, and I do think it's going to be very entertaining, and I think it's going to at some point be a bit of a brawl. And we'll see how Khan's chin holds up. Also, whether Luis Collazo can fight up to that level. But I know my broadcast colleague, Paulie Nalinaji, who picked Collazo to beat Ortiz, and I really thought he had a good chance to beat him as well. But Paulie was adamant about it. He is a big believer in Luis Collazo and feels like he can be special. And Amir Khan has so many skill sets. But as you point out, working with Virgil Hunter now, they've tried to make him not be the guy that once he initiates the action stays there and looks to exchange. Chris, that was one of your brilliant ploys in the ring. You would land your punches, then reset, then look for a new position. And if that's not in your brain, it's kind of hard sometimes to learn it, isn't it?
It is, but you got to go over it and over it and over it. Because once you go down and you watch it on film, well, I'm staying in the pocket too long and I'm getting cracked with a punch. I got to remember that. I can't stay in too long, get my combinations in, get out, reset, and set back up with the jab, and then throw them again. You got to learn from it. If not, down you go again. So,
yeah, that's for sure. And in that fight with Molina with Khan, you could see the wheels turning as he tried to do it. But then when he fought Julio Diaz, he languished too much. Diaz was able to land the left hook and hurt him on occasion. So you're right. We're going to find out the answer on Saturday, and it's going to be a fascinating fight. That's on Showtime pay-per-view, as you all know, and I'll be privileged to be on that broadcast. So I'm looking forward to that a great deal. Then in the main event, of course, on Saturday at the MGM Grand, we've got Marcos Maidana and Floyd Mayweather. Today at the press conference, Marcos Maidana, uncharacteristically, and I don't know if you saw it, Chris, online, but he uncharacteristically was a little, he took a shot a little bit at Floyd Mayweather when he explained what a great fighter he is, but then he said, but then I say, F him. So it was like so uncharacteristic, but it was said in such a cute way, in a certain way. Everybody laughed, and it was kind of funny. But the big news flash to me in the press conference was that Floyd Mayweather wanted to sell us on the idea that he can afford to stand in the pocket and make this a more interesting and entertaining fight with Marcos Maidana, and furthermore had every intention of doing that. What do you think of that statement?
Yeah, I mean, I truly feel he can at times, especially when you're making a guy. If you make a guy miss in the pocket, it's hard to fight somebody right there. It mentally drains you. You don't know what to throw. So I can stay in the pocket, get rest, and do what I want to do. Maidana, he got to press the issue, make this fight rough, disrupt the rhythm. Period. You're not going to outbox him.
No.
You're not faster. Take it to him. I mean, literally bully him as best as possible. I mean, grab him, make it almost to the point where you're going to get disqualified.
Yes, and that's what Mayweather said to me today when I talked to him. He said, I expect him to hit me in the shins, in the thigh, below the belt. He said, I expect him to rough me up. And you're right. You said that exactly right. You could take it all the way to the point of being, just so you don't get disqualified, you want to make it as rough as possible. Now, the other thing that Maidana has in his repertoire that in my mind, and I'm curious to hear what you say, it is important in beating Mayweather. He's got a left hook. He's got a good left hook. And he's got a left hook that he disguises a little bit by using the jab to the body constantly, and then that turns into a left hook. Just when and this happened to Broner, when he was getting ready to parry that jab to the body, all of a sudden it wasn't a jab to the body, it was a hook, and it hit him, and twice it created knockdowns. Now, Floyd's not so easy to fool, but at least Maidana has that left hook, because I am one of those people that believes if you're a right-handed puncher against Floyd Mayweather, you're seduced by that shoulder, by that left hand that's so low. But the thing about the shoulder roll and the way he fights is he turns his body. You do not land right hands against him. Yeah. If you don't have a left hook, you can't beat him. That's my opinion anyway. Yeah,
I mean, that's true. See, the shoulder roll is not all the time, and that's the big thing about Floyd. It's instinct and his reflexes. They're still real good. I'm waiting for it to fall apart at the age he is, but it's not.
It doesn't happen.
And he's waiting. He's not really waiting on every punch. The instinct is so good and the reflexes, he see everything coming. Yes. So you got to really set him up and put him in trenches to make him fight back, then catch him while he's throwing.
Exactly.
Got to get closer. Make it rough. Like I said, disrupt the rhythm. Because once he gets set the rhythm, it's a 12-round mental battle. And is he ready for it? That's the big thing. Is he ready for that mental battle if the fight settles down? And that's what most of the guys he fight, they're not ready for that. They're ready to cop out. They really want to quit, but they don't quit because they're not getting hit, and the referee will have to stop it.
That's right.
But mentally, it's hard. And I'm just telling you from experience with somebody getting in the ring, and even guys used to tell me, man, it was so hard hitting you. I feel like I wanted to quit, but you're not hurting me. So
exactly.
I just hang in there and get beat round after round. And Floyd does the same thing. And he makes it look so easy. And, it's just a hard style to match up with. So you got to do something different in the fight to disrupt the rhythm.
Yeah, and that's what Jose Luis Castillo did against Mayweather many years ago, but that's what he did. Cotto did it a little bit, but not very much. And you're right. I think Maidana is a little bit of that Castillo prototype. And what did Castillo have? A great double left hook. So when he got on the inside, he was taking that step to the left, ripping those hooks, which he needed to do, physically pushing Floyd against the ropes and whatever. And yeah, you are so right. I can appreciate that fighters were saying that to you because you were very similar. You were frustrating them. You were fighting a couple weight divisions above your natural power, so you probably weren't going to hurt a lot of them, at least dramatically, but they were still frustrated, and they didn't know what to do, and it is frustrating. You probably want to quit, but it's just not there. Well, and this fight with Maidana, I think, Leonard Ellerby and some of the other Mayweather people are trying to sell the fact that he'll push Mayweather to a point where he will have to show certain that he'll have to bring something out of himself that's special. That remains to be seen. It could happen. I do think Marcos Maidana will attack with more abandon than some of the people that have recently fought him. But we always say that, don't we? And people don't do it against Floyd Mayweather. He turns volume punchers into not volume punchers.
Yes, he does. And the thing about Maidana, he can't get just straight reckless either.
No.
That's what a slick guy wants you to do. I want you to get reckless so I can really embarrass you. I mean, he'll get very embarrassed. So you got to have a strategic game plan of how you're going to go about what you're doing as far as bringing the pressure and making this fight a dog fight on the inside. I mean, make it dirty as clean as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask you both what you thought about this about the mouthpiece. I thought that was brilliant, actually. That's pretty clever.
That was on All Access. There's the mouthpiece of Maidana. Of course, what it denotes is that he's thinking after this fight, Floyd is going to be 45-1. So Chris, will he open his mouth and show that to Floyd to psych him out? And I'm sure Floyd will be psyched out, right?
Oh yeah, he'll probably just lose.
He probably won't even be able to continue.
I mean, it's boxing. It's nice for the fans. It's nice for everybody, the media, to see it. 45-1. This is what I have. But I'm telling you, once you get in the ring, I mean, everything goes out the window. You got to fight. And Floyd been around the block many times. He look at that stuff and probably laugh. And in actuality, it probably motivated me even more.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
Let sleeping dogs lie, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, I also think part of this conversation, and you've kind of alluded to it, I believe that Floyd Mayweather does think he can. Now, he hasn't had a knockout since the Ortiz fight, and before that, you have to go back to the Hatton fight. But I believe Floyd thinks he can buzz Maidana. Maidana against Adrian Broner, I think, was buzzed on a couple of occasions, and Broner is not a big puncher at welterweight at 147. So I think Floyd thinks he's going to, and you pointed out that Maidana can't come in recklessly. Part of the reason is I think Floyd feels like he can set down on his punches on a couple of occasions, land a counterpunch that will really hurt Maidana, and I think he thinks he has a chance to stop him.
He landed 53% of his power punches against Alvarez.
Yeah, and he always lands around 50% of them, which is staggering. It's a staggering statistic as you look at the numbers. And Chris, I think he probably does have a feeling that he might be able to hurt Maidana.
Honestly, I think it depends on what he feels in the first round. As far as when you come out, we see a guy, and like he punches hard. He's known to be a puncher. But when you feel it, like on the shoulder, on the arms, it looked like Floyd is the type that I'll feel this. If it lands on the chin, upset. I mean, you're not stupid, so I don't take these major risks. Let me box, win every round. Don't take the risk because something will land. Something gonna get through. It's boxing.
Yes, you can figure it out.
It's like going swimming and not getting wet. You're gonna get hit. So don't take the chance of getting knocked out clean because some of these guys punch real hard.
Yeah.
So now he's really alert. I'm gonna stay alert for 12 rounds, not take a risk, and just win easy. Everybody know me as this guy that's going 12 rounds, not knocking guys out. And furthermore, I think most people are watching to see Floyd lose. So now it gives it an incentive to really just put it on him for 12 rounds, mentally break him down, win easy 12-round decision.
Well, we'll see. That's been the normal procedure for Floyd. Chris, we appreciate you being with us so much on this Hangout and helping us break down what should be a terrific card on Saturday night, and we're all looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great card. Thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Dan, we've got some exciting things coming up on. First, let me remind everybody that on Saturday night, of course, for this big card, I will be on the pay-per-view broadcast on Showtime. Also, on Friday, I'll be on the weigh-in show, the special weigh-in show that we'll have on CBS Sportsnet and on Showtime Friday afternoon of the weigh-in, and then, of course, Saturday night we'll have the pay-per-view broadcast in which I'll be working alongside Mauro Ronaldo, Paulie Malignaggi, with Brian Kenny and Jim Gray, and a cast of thousands on that show. And Dan, we have some great things to look forward to on the Hangout.
We do. Next week we're going to do a Hangout with all of the people who are involved with creating Dynasty Boxing. And this is going to be fantastic from a couple different standpoints. For the people who don't know about Dynasty Boxing, you've got two boxing families who have come together to create this new promotional organization. You've got the Duva family and the Lane family. Miles Lane's two sons, Terry and Tommy, have joined together with Dino Duva, and they've already got their first signing, which I think you can see here on the screen. I try to say it right. I believe it's Zong, and he was the 1988 silver medalist at the Olympics, and this is going to be super exciting. And I know that you've had a chance to, you've known them for a while, haven't you, Al?
I have. They're both, Dino and the Lanes are terrific people, and I think that's going to be very exciting. It'll be interesting to see how their new find does as a big heavyweight, opening up, further enhancing the market that has already been opened up in the Far East.
Going to be fantastic.
And speaking of fights in other parts of the world, we're going to be talking British boxing, are we not? On May 27th?
Yes, we are, and that is on May 27th, and that is also going to be fantastic. We are going to be going live at 6 p.m. London time, so you and I will be getting up early in order to make sure that we're catering to the British crowd. We've had a lot of emails and a lot of contact through Twitter and Facebook and everybody, and this has been requested and called out, and you made it happen. I think this is going to be a great one.
It's going to be fun. We're going to get a couple special guests with us that I'm working on. I'm going to be over in England doing the fights for Channel 5 on May 10th and May 17th, and so we'll have an announcement about who's going to be joining us on the Hangout. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to talk British boxing, and, of course, keying into the Froch Groves fight, which is going to have close to 80,000 people at it, which is pretty staggering.
That's going to be insane.
We have a lot of fun. And this week, a reminder that folks can enter our contest. There's the Hall of Fame. Yeah, let's talk about the Hall of Fame too. We're going to be on hand, and you're going to be able to look at the Hall of Fame through my eyes. You know, I'm going to be there enjoying the festivities. A couple years ago when I was inducted, of course, I loved it and enjoyed it. But you know, it was a really vigorous schedule, and it was almost like when you get married, everything goes by so fast that you can't really collect and gather and enjoy the moment. Well, one of the great things about going there when I'm just there, in effect, like you as a fan, is I'm really going to enjoy it. Well, I'm going to be more than a fan because Dan and I will be doing special hangouts from the Hall of Fame, plus I'll be doing a lot of special video, and basically trying to have you enjoy those festivities through my eyes and the eyes that we're going to give you. And it should be a lot of fun. Joe Calzaghe, Tito Trinidad, and Oscar De La Hoya will be inducted, three men that richly deserve it. And Dan, you're going to be on hand. We're going to have a lot of fun there.
I'm still blown away from 2 years ago when I was there with you, and it was just a blur for me as well. And I met all of these incredible legends, and all of the little conversations and the characters of boxing are all there for that weekend. And we're going to be overloaded on videotaping everybody and everything. We're going to all the events, and I'm super excited. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be great. And I want to mention that this week for those of you that want to enter our contest for the Showstat/CompuBox numbers, of what's going to happen in the fight to win some special prizes, Dan, they can enter into that, can't they, at our Facebook page?
Absolutely. So you go over to facebook.com/Al Bernstein Live, and you will be able to find the page right on the top up there. Pick your guess how many total number of punches that are going to be landed during the fight. We've got 2 great presents, 2 great gifts. One of them is you will get an official Moment shirt, just like this, signed by Al to you. You will also receive a copy of his book, 30 Years and 30...
Undeniable Truths.
Undeniable Truths. And so fantastic. Get over there, put in the entry anytime before the fight, and you'll be entered for those great prizes.
Excellent. Well, it should be a lot of fun. And a reminder that all through this week, please check out the boxing channel at boxingchannel.tv, where we'll have constant coverage of the fight. And, of course, on Saturday night, I hope many of you will tune in. We will see the actual fight on Showtime pay-per-view. We're looking forward to a great broadcast.
And don't forget Chris Byrd's Bird's Eye View website as well. What's the actual address there, Chris?
Oh, Slipmaster92.
Yeah, that's on Twitter. What's the website for Bird's Eye View?
Oh, YouTube, Slipmaster92 at AOL.com.
Perfect. All right, there you go.
Yeah, great. Yes, Chris has some great content and great shows on there, and people are going to want to check it out, and they can see what a brilliant mind he has for the sport of boxing. Not only was he a great fighter, but he totally understands the sport from a unique perspective, and demonstrates that every time we have him on. And we appreciate Chris being with us. Dan, thanks to you, and thanks to everybody for watching. We'll see you next time here on the Boxing Hangout.